Oh, hello. I'm Aerith Gainsborough. I'm just reading to my cat Precious. But anyway, I will read it to you too. It's a story by Robbie Damon. It is called Lenny and Lug versus the Forest. Lenny Laura Lark sits hunched in the dark, her dress singed with solder, eyes lit with a spark. Her mom always said she'd be a great engineer, but sadly her mother is no longer here. For so many months it's been Lenny alone. It feels like this cabin is all that she's known. She remembers the day everyone disappeared. Her mom said, "Len, we have to get out of here." They came to the woods to Grandpa's old cabin. Mom thought Grandpa might come, but that never happened. Soon they ran out of food, so Mom left with her pack. She said, "Love you, Len," but she never came back. Lenny cried for weeks because her mother was gone, yet soon she realized that life had to go on. Perhaps she was hungry, alone and afraid, but Mom would want her to live and try to be brave. She wiped away her tears because she knew that she should, threw back her shoulders and walked into the woods. She'd found a book in the cabin, How to Survive in the Wild, though somehow she thought it wasn't written for a child. She foraged for berries and got fresh veggies to grow, caught a few fish for dinner but let the squirrels go. She thought to herself, I might just be all right, until she got lost in the forest one night. Out scouting, Lenny found, much to her surprise, an old warehouse, abandoned, full of supplies. It took her hours to gather all she could carry, and by the time she had left, the woods became scary. The sun had set and the path was dark. Getting home, she thought, would be no walk in the park. Leaves blew in the wind, making rustling sounds. She heard the grinding of teeth and claws scraping the ground. Eyes glowed in the darkness. Some snarled, some sneered. Shadows came to life as they smelled Lenny's fear. The creatures grew bolder and quickened their pace. Lenny sprinted away, and the dark things gave chase. She made it back to the cabin not a minute too soon. Outside in the night, the dark things loomed. Instead of crying or hiding or freezing with fright, Lenny secured the cabin and locked it up tight. That night, she thought hard how to make this all end. and it came in a flash. I have to build a friend. She needed a partner who was big and strong, who would fight by her side, but still sing her a song. He'd be made out of steel and 7 feet tall, and his face would be gentle, not scary at all. Lenny read and she studied, crafting her plan until it was time to build her own metal man. She went back to the warehouse when the sun first came up, scavenged all her parts, plus a new coffee cup. Back at the cabin, she built a workshop where she started to tinker and hammer and chop. There were circuits for splicing and metal for welding. Lenny found it exciting, not a bit overwhelming. She spent her nights working with skill and detail. Sometimes she'd succeed, other times she would fail. The questions were tough or the books were just wrong. A tool wouldn't work, a wire didn't belong. It was the hardest thing Lenny had ever done, but she never gave up and even had some fun. After lots of hard work, determination, and grit, it was time to see if the final piece fit. With a wrench, she tightened the very last bolt, and her creation came alive with a zap and a jolt. I hope you're enjoying the story so far. Had she programmed him right? Worked out all the bugs? He knelt down to her and gave her one great big hug. Nice to meet you, she whispered, clutching his frame. I'm Lenny, she said, but now you need a name. The robot stood and stretched to the roof, and one of his shiny lug nuts rattled loose. That's it, she exclaimed, fixing the part. I'll call you Lug. And lights glowed in his heart. In no time at all, the pair became best friends. Lug was always there with a hand to lend. He could be silly or dance, and Lenny would beam. A girl and her robot, a natural team. Days were full of excitement and work to be done, but they always came back with the setting sun. They made the cabin a home, but how long could they stay? Would it be safe forever? Lynn couldn't quite say. The dark things were still out there, and she swore there were more. When she slept, she was glad that Lug guarded the door. That night she dreamt of leaving their cabin for two, and sometimes dreams have always of making themselves come true. The next day they relaxed for the first time in weeks. Lenny read by the river, while Lug oiled his squeaks. Suddenly, his antenna shot straight up to the sky. It had never worked, though. Lenny certainly tried. A voice came from Lug's speaker. "Is anyone there?" "I am," said Lenny. Silence hung in the air. They searched for a signal, but no one replied. Lug's antenna stayed down no matter how hard they tried. They'd searched far and long. It was almost dusk. Creatures stirred in the shadows, the air filled with musk. Lug scooped Lenny up and threw her on his shoulders. He bounded through trees, across fields, over boulders. They got to the cabin just a little too late. The door stood wide open, glowing eyes laid in wait. "Let's go," said Lenny. "But my map and my pack." The smile in Lug's eyes seemed to say, "Be right back." The rattle of battle, would Lug win or relent? He burst out with her gear without so much as a dent. Lug ran through the forest. Lynn was their guide, and when they were cornered, they fought side by side. Dark things hid, then attacked in their shadowy way. Lug and Lenny's lights seemed to keep them at bay. The night was long and full of doubt, but finally at dawn they found their way out. The two emerged from the woods at the top of a hill. The cabin behind them, the forest now still. Before them, the sun shined on a quaint little town, a little too quiet, with no one around. Suddenly, Lug's antenna shot straight up and spun. The two smiled at each other and started to run. Lenny had done it, built a robot best friend. Their adventures just starting, but for now, it's the end. Well, I hope you guys enjoyed this story. See you next time.